The course of history is determined not by battles, by sieges, or observations, but by the actions of the individual. The strongest city, the largest army is, at its most basic level, a collection of individuals. Their decisions, their passions, their foolishness, and their dreams shape the years to come. If there is any lesson to be learned from history, it is that all too often the fate of armies, of cities, of entire realms rests upon the actions of one person. In that dire moment of uncertainty, that person's decision, good or bad, right or wrong, big or small, can unwittingly change the world. But history can be quite the slattern. One never knows who that person is, where he might be, or what decisions he might make. It is almost enough to make a man believe in destiny. From the writings of Gaius Primus, First Lord of Alera. Hello, I am Mr. Pleasant Books. For this book talk, we'll be discussing the first book in the Codex of Alera, the Furies of Calderon. Now, I just read the prologue, in essence, because I just felt it summed up really well, actually the entire series of the characters. Tavi, Bernard, Amara, Isana, Gaius, Fidelius, all of them. Aldrich, just all of the characters really get summed up by that prologue, which is just shows Jim Butcher. Jim Butcher is one of my favorite authors. I've loved all of the books of his that I've read so far. So this book talk will, as I said, be discussing the Furies of Calderon. I recommend go out and read it. It's 6 books in this series total, all worth reading. This is kind of the stories that I like the most, because this isn't about how good they are with magic, how powerful they are with their abilities. It's about willpower, determination, intelligence, and just refusing to quit, not letting something hold you back. Yeah, you may have disabilities, you may have health problems, you may have something that makes you a freak to the rest of the world, but don't let it hold you back. You can accomplish a great many things. And that's what I love about this, is that the main character, Tavi, doesn't let anything stop him. He just keeps going. So, that's it for the non-spoiler section. So from this point forward, I'll be talking about what actually happened in the book. So if you don't want to know, spoilers from here on forth. Hello, Furies of Calderon. The book starts. The book starts with us meeting Amara and Fidelius, and then Aldrich ex Gladius, at this time considered the best swordsman in the world. Amara is a cursor, which for the general populace just means a mail carrier delivering message. But for the lords and the high lords and all of those, they know that these are also the spies, the agents of the First Lord that he sends out to accomplish everything that he needs done. Fidelius is the best of the best. In his whole life that he's been doing it, no one has been better than him. And he is Amara's teacher. He is with her on this last mission, where if she finishes it, she'll graduate to Cursor herself and be able to go on missions on her own. And as they're heading in, she's riding what is known as a gargant. Now these gargants, and I've seen pictures that people have drawn and things like that, and to me they're described as kind of giant pig, mammoth, mole things, because they talk about having big claws to dig with, but short in face, but the size of an elephant, and they sound really cool. It sounds like they'd be fun to have around. Have the ability to fury craft, which sounds really cool. They can control, if I'm remembering right, air, metal, water, wood, earth, fire, and I believe that's it. I believe just those, but with those, they can do so many things. Like Amara, she controls air. We find out that as she's going to this camp of traders to the realm, that they get caught. Fidelius betrays her, and she takes off and can fly. Actually, jumps off a cliff. Her fury comes under her, and she flies away. That would be freaking awesome. And also, like Aldrich, the reason he's the best swordsman is because he can control metal, so he can make it sharper. He seems to move faster. He can sense metal all around him, so even if someone's shooting an arrow at him, he can feel it coming towards him, and he can block it. It also makes it so he doesn't feel pain like other people. Like even if he and later in the story, that one guy breaks his knee and keeps walking on it like it's not that big of a deal. That'd be some pretty cool powers to have, these abilities. But the main part of this story takes place in the Calderon Valley, which is where Amara escapes to as she's running away. It's where we meet Tavi, who is the central character for the book. He's off to find the sheep that he didn't bring in the night before with his uncle Burner. Find out that his uncle can control two Furies at the same time. He has an Earth and a Wood Fury. And that the Wood Fury allows him to send someone ahead to track. The Earth Fury allows him to feel people walking. It also helps him to kind of control emotions. And he runs into Cord, who is just a dirtbag. Just an absolute dirtbag. Slaver, horrible person. You also meet Asana, which is Tavi's aunt and Bernard's sister, who is a very powerful watercrafter. She can sense when people are lying. She can actually send her voice through the rivers and streams and ponds to speak with people miles away. Tavi and Bernard are looking for the rams. They eventually find them, but then they also run into Herdbane, which is a giant ostrich-like bird, but with a bigger beak that's made for biting and ripping and tearing, and with giant claws that can almost actually more like a raptor than an ostrich. But they manage to kill it. But when they search it, they find that the Herdbane has a collar, which shows that it's a Marat Herdbane. And the Marat are the enemies of the Alerans. But Bernard got hurt pretty bad, and so his Fury takes him back to the Sed Hole. And as the Fury's taking him back, Tavi hears another bird, the mate to the one that they just killed. Plus, he finds out that since it's a the Marat themselves are going to be there with their Herdbane. So he rolls off the Fury and leads them away from his uncle, which allows him to meet Amara and saves her away from the Windbanes, which sound almost like ghosts that the storms produce. Salt hurts them, which is, salt's supposed to hurt ghosts too. So it sounds like they're poltergeists almost. They kill, they rip, they tear, and they run into Bernard, who doesn't remember what happened. He had lost so much blood, and it was so traumatizing that even like nowadays, when people get hurt really bad, they don't always remember what happened to him. And it's the same with Bernard. He doesn't remember. He just knows that he was hurt, that his people got hurt when Cord attacked the Stead Holt, and that he's angry at Tavi because he doesn't know what happened. He just knows that Tavi had something to do with it because he was out with Tavi when all these bad things happened. And so he yells at him, brings Amara in. All that's happening. Fidelius went with Alderic and to Aquitaine, who is the second most powerful Furycraft in the realm, only behind the First Lord, which, considering some of the stuff the First Lord can do, that is a very powerful man. But he's the one who built up this renegade legion in order to attack, because he wants to be on the throne. He thinks Gaius is failing, and so he built up the legion to do that. After that Fidelius then lands in the valley, starts looking for Amara, tracks her to Bernard Holt, where Amara sees him and runs away with Tavi, because Tavi's the only one who's seen the Marat, and so she wants to bring Tavi to garrison the base to warn the Count there that an attack is coming. As they're running away, Bernard runs after them, because he's no fool. He tries to chase them, and they get attacked by Cord and his sons, because Cord thinks that they want to go to a garrison to complain about Cord and the bad things that he and his kids have done. And during this fight, we find out that Eric can work with the air, Bittern can work with fire, and he starts a fire that just starts burning everywhere. Bittern gets killed by Alderic, which causes Cord to kind of go insane. He can't do anything because just as Alderic kills Bittern, Isana floods everywhere, puts out the fire, everyone kind of gets scattered. Fidelius and Alderic end up together and keep on going towards the garrison and the Marat in order to attack. Bernard and Amara end up together and decide to go to garrison as well in order to warn the Count. Odiana and Asana get kidnapped by Cord, which really sucks because he's just a douche. We find that Tavi and Fade was a simpleton slave who works at Bernard Holt, and he's got a scar on his face for cowardice, because in Alera, everyone has to join the Legion for a term of service. And when you get branded the coward on your face when you run away from battle. And since Fade is a simpleton it's kind of understandable that he would run because he doesn't know what's happening. And he gets, everyone kind of beats him, abuses him, except for Tavi, Bernard, and Asana. They treat him well, they treat him nicely. And so Fade goes with Tavi and Amara when they're running in order to help Tavi. And they ended up getting caught by the Marat, but a different kind of Marat. They get caught by Marat who have Gargants as their totems. Now we find out that it's Daroga. Daroga is the headman of the Gargant tribe, or Sabota, I believe is how you pronounced it in the book. And that's what the Marat call the Gargant, because they speak Alera as their trading language between the different tribes. They say, okay, we'll let the contest between the Alera versus one of the Marat. They have to go into the Wax Forest, make it through the Keepers of Silence, get the mushroom, like the Blade of Night or something like that, and bring it back, because this mushroom has amazing medicinal properties. And so Tavi, of course, he doesn't know what the Wax Forest is. He agrees to it. And that's when he finds out that the Wax Forest is a forest that is covered with a waxy-like substance. It's called the Croach. That if it gets burst or split, giant dog-sized spiders will come, bite you, fill you with poison, and then bury you in the Croach, where you will slowly dissolve over the coming weeks. Ouch. Just gotta say, wow, that is a heck of a way to die. And it's only kids that can go on the Croach because the adult Marat are too heavy. So that's why Tavi and Kitai, Daroga's whelp, are the only ones who can get on the Croach to go get this mushroom. And Tavi, being really smart that he is, not letting his lack of fury craft hold him back, finds out that the Keepers of Silence sense heat. They can see the heat. That's why the Marat were always dying. So he started a fire to distract him while he ran in, grabbed 2 mushrooms, one for Kitai, one for him, runs back. Unfortunately, when he picks up the mushroom, it has thorns on it. He splashes some of his blood on the central pillar in the forest, the Wax Forest, which wakes up a nightmare. And he runs away from it. And as he's trying to escape, it bites Kitai, fills her with poison. So he uses his mushroom to get the poison, puts it in her mouth to save her, even though it will cause his death. But he just can't let her die. So he grabs her. They start heading up. They bond. The first time in the Marat history, Marat bonds with an Alera, with a human, and her eyes change from like an opal rainbow color to green, like Tavi's eyes. But Daroga and Hashat, the horse headman, she's a woman, the horse head woman, get them up there, save them, get them away from the nightmare. Tavi has accomplished it because Kitai gives him her mushroom. So Daroga says, you saved me from having to go to battle, which I thank you for, but you also saved my whelp, who is now my daughter because she's bonded. So now I have to pay you back by helping you save your family. Let's go to war. Daroga is a very, very awesome character. I wish he was in the series more, because he's just a really cool character. But yeah, he leads the entire Horse and Gargant clans off to battle at Garrison against the Herdbane and the Wolves. All that is happening. Amara and Bernard get to Garrison. They get stopped by a pompous twit moron who thinks he's special because he's a citizen. But Graham, the Count, comes down. He knows Bernard. Hears Bernard say that there's an attack coming. Starts trying to get Garrison raised up when he gets stabbed by an assassin. Doesn't kill him, because Amara sends the assassins at the last minute. But Graham goes down, and this idiot twit moron throws them in jail like they were a part of it. Like they didn't just try to save the Count. They get out through Giraldi and the healer, just in time for the wolves to get there and to attack. Now this is a 10-foot wall that they're guarding. They have Fury Craft, and these wolf warriors can almost just run up the wall. And they fight him. They hit him with fire crafting, with earth crafting, with giant hammers because the earth crafters have super strength, with wind, with shooting arrows 600 yards. And they finally push the wolves back. The Herdbane come in. The Herdbane can just jump over the 10-foot wall. And they start killing everybody, but they eventually push the Herdbane back. And they find out that these were just the youngins, the young folk, the young men and women who wanted to prove themselves in battle. The veterans are still on their way, still with a force of about 50,000 of them coming. Now, when the veterans get there, the Aleran knights attack, or the Aleran traders attack, wipe out the firecrafters, kill some earth, destroy the gate. Aldrich kills the knight captain in a sword fight. Everything kind of starts collapsing, but they manage to somehow push them back and get everything ready. And now while they're waiting, the stead holders all show up, and most of them are powerful earthcrafters and a lot of watercrafters, so they start healing the troops to get them back into fighting condition. The earthcrafters raise the wall up to 30 feet, put obsidian spikes on it in order to make it harder for the Marat to get in. Reinforce the wall to make it stronger so that they can just batter it down and then get up on the walls themselves, since most of them served their time in the Legion, because that was required for everybody to do the Legion. Everyone has a sword or a pike or something to fight with. They all have battle training in their fury crafting. But then the veterans show up, the Wolf and the Herdbane attack more, start fighting him. When the enemy knights come in, Amara and Bernard had a trick, which killed a lot of them, but it didn't get Fidelius or Aldrich or Odiana. The battle, Tavi shows up with Daroga, breaks down the wall. Daroga fights the Herdbane chieftain, and is betrayed by the Wolf chieftain as they're fighting. So he gets poisoned, but he eats the mushrooms, so he lives through the poisoning. But he still ends up killing the Herdbane chieftain, which causes kind of just the rest of the tribe of the Herdbane and the Wolf tribe to try to run, but they're trapped between the Alerans and the Gargans and the Horse tribe, and just smash them almost into non-existence. But and then while all this is happening, we find out that Fade was actually Aurorus Valerian, the greatest swordsman who has ever lived, the only person who has beat Aldrich in a sword fight. And he and Aldrich end up fighting. Aldrich thinks he wins, but Fade taps the ground where he sliced the stone away, because metal crafter can make the sword sight. Aldrich falls. Fidelius runs in, chokes out Fidelius, beats down Tavi, beats down Amara, gets the Signet dagger to keep Aquitaine from getting in trouble, but then gets thrown off the wall and crushed, and looks like he dies. It turns out he doesn't. He lives. Odiana saves him, saves Tavi, saves Bernard in order to thank Asana for saving her. So that's the end of the battle. At the end of it, Gaius, the first Lord of Alera, shows up, makes Asana a stead holder, first woman stead holder in the history of Alera, makes Bernard the new count, makes Amara, who Bernard and Amara started kind of getting together, makes Bernard and Amara Bernard's messenger, so they can see each other a lot. Allows Tavi to go to the academy, which his biggest dream was, because it doesn't matter if you have fury crafting in the academy, it matters how intelligent you are. So Gaius allows that, and then the book ends with the entirety of the First Lord, the stead holders, all of the First Lord's retainers and knights, waiting and watching as Tavi and Fade, who's gone back to pretending to be a simpleton, watch as they bring in the sheep, which is what Tavi was trying to do in the very beginning of the book. And it shows that he does what he says he's going to do, that he doesn't let anything stop him from accomplishing what he needs to accomplish. Well, that's the end of this book talk. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the story, the book. It's an amazing book series. Please read it. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.